Hello everyone, and welcome to my video on pistol basics. What I have here is a 1911 semi-automatic pistol. Semi-automatic meaning that every time you pull the trigger, it will fire one bullet until you are out of rounds in the magazine. Let's get started. This is the entire view of the gun. This bottom part, from the front, the very bottom part all the way down here, this is known as a frame, not the top part. Just where this line is right here, this is a slide. This top part is a slide. The bottom part is a frame. The frame is broken down into, you have the grip right here. Of course, you grip the gun with that, obviously. This is the trigger. This is the trigger guard. It guards the trigger so that you don't accidentally have things like when it's in your pocket or in your purse or in your house, you don't have things pushing the trigger. It has to be directly in that hole to get the trigger. This part here is the rear sight, and this part up here is the front sight. This is the slide stop. This bottom part where you see all the little groove cutouts, this is a Picatinny rail. You can use it to attach accessories or like lights or lasers. The 1911 has a hammer fired system, which is this part sticking out right here. That's the hammer. You pull it back to be able to fire the gun. It also has an external thumb safety right here, which will be activated by just pushing up with your thumb, like so. Push up to engage the safety. You see there's little, it's notched into the slide right there. Nice and perfect. And push it down. You see the groove where the safety fits in. The 1911 also has a grip safety. It is easily depressed when you naturally hold it with your hand. It gets depressed in. And this part here that sticks out, it is to shield yourself from the hammer. So when it comes down, it will reside in this nice cutout area and it won't hit your back part of your hand right here when you're shooting. This is a magazine. Please do not call it a clip. A lot of people use them interchangeably. If you go into a gun store and you're looking for a first-time gun and you start throwing words out like clip, how many rounds does a clip hold? A lot of gun people are especially experts, are kind of snobs, and if you start saying clip, they're going to automatically start shutting you down. They're not going to want to listen to you and help you, which kind of sucks. It shouldn't be that way. It's business. They're there to make money. They should help you no matter what. When people ask me for advice, I try to politely correct them and tell them magazine, but if they keep saying clip, it doesn't bother me much. But if you go into a store and you ask and you start using correct terminology like magazine, you'll get the respect of that gun salesman. They might be willing to go the extra mile with you and, do things that they might do with other customers, like not get mad if you want to look at 20 different guns and things like that. So again, this is a magazine. This is a round, obviously. Comes out very easily. Excuse me, I'm a little sick. Alright, so when you want to load your rounds, again, that's another terminology thing. This entire thing is called a round. The front part, that's the bullet. Everything else, that's the shell casing. The back part, the silver part, is the shell casing. There's a gunpowder in there. That's the primer. Your gun will internally strike that primer to make the gunpowder explode. And this is just a bullet. So if some people are real snobs. You say bullets, they're like, oh, that's not a bullet, that's a round. But anyways, back to the video. So you take your round, you put it in the magazine. Let me just take it all the way out. The first few rounds are easy. There's a big old spring pushing this entire thing up right here. This is called the follower. The first round, easy, you can push it down. You just kind of push down. You can push down with one hand and just push it in. When you get farther down, the spring starts building tension down here, so it gets harder to press. So a little technique to press the rounds in easier, use your undominant hand, push the back down a little bit, see how the bullet goes in. Excuse me, the round. It goes in. You can use your dominant hand to kind of create like a little barrier right here against the edge of the magazine, and then you can guide the bullet in. Just push it against the edge of your thumb, of your pointer, and push down with your thumb till it's in about, and it's in, and push it back in. Not all magazines will have this. Mine does. This has little grooves cut out so that you can see how many rounds are in there. So that's about, this one holds 7, so that's 3 right there. 4, 5, 6, 7. Every one that gets filled in, you'll know there's a bullet in there. Excuse me, round. Um, just load them up real quick, like. Not all magazines will have the round indicator, how many you have in there, and some have it on the back, and they'll have like 16 shots. They'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every single shot will be filled up. Some just skip every other one. They'll be like 2, 4, 6. Now, when you operate the gun, before we load it up, I'm going to show you how to properly hold it. Use your dominant hand, grip it around the backside, put your bottom fingers right there. Point your finger, never put on the trigger until you're ready to fire. Put it on the side of the slide. Hold it like that, right there. Now your undominant hand, your weak hand, take this part of your finger right here, this area, slide it in right there between your thumb and the rest of your fingers. It fits nice and perfect. Take your other fingers, wrap around the front, so it kind of cradles the front of your hand. Like that. You do a cradle around the front. You can either put your pointer on the front, or I like to kind of sometimes put my pointer up on the trigger guard. Keep your thumb on the bottom, below the slide. Put it right to the side right there. And that's now you're ready. Oh, excuse me. Also, your right thumb. Don't forget to. You can either lay it down, or if it has external safety, you can lay it on top like that. Now you're ready to fire. When you're ready to fire, you may put your finger in the trigger guard and get ready to pull the trigger. It is very important that you keep your hands low below the slide. When the gun fires, the slide is going to go back and forth. And if your hand's up here, it will get pinched in between there where there's metal slides, and it won't kill you, but it will hurt really, really bad. Now, the way the gun operates, one last thing I should tell you about, these right here are slide serrations. The front and the back. Most modern pistols have a back slide serration, not all of them will have the front. They help you grip the gun easier, because it's flat metal be really hard. If you're sweaty, dirty, it might be hard to grip, so you can grip it there and pull it back. You can also do it from the front. Now, if you're a beginner, we do not recommend you do it in the front, because that's where the barrel's at, and the bullets might come out and shoot your finger. It is easier to push than to pull, though. If you're doing it from the back, you're basically pulling the entire slide. If you do it from the front, you're pushing it. So it is easier to do it that way from the front. It's just, I would recommend you get some more gun experience before you start messing around with the front there. And not all guns will have that. Mine is a little higher up gun, so the more you pay for your gun, the more advanced or luxury features you will have. So most handguns will have the back serration. The higher up ones will have the front. Now, when you fire your gun, what's going to happen is you have to hold it very steady. If you don't hold it steady, I'll show you why a lot of people get jams. What's going to happen, you fire that gun, the slide is going to come all the way back. Your next bullet will be loaded in, and it will go forward. And then you'll be ready to fire again. If you do what's called limp wristing, where you don't hold it tight, you just kind of loose wiggle it. You see how far back the slide's supposed to go? It goes very far back. If you limp wrist it, the recoil, instead of your gun standing there, your slide moving, your gun will kind of move with you when you fire, and that will make the slide not go all the way back. It might go that far back. You see how you can kind of see the barrel right there? It won't go all the way, so the next bullet won't go in all the way. The old bullet that you just shot won't come out all the way, and you get jammed up in there. So when you hold it, make sure you hold it very tight so that the only thing that's moving is the top slide part, not the whole gun. My gun also has, most modern pistols have a chamber loaded indicator. There's this little cutout. Mine has a little cutout right there, right above the pen mark. Right now it's black because there's nothing in there. If you have a bullet or a round in the chamber ready to go, you will see the end of the bullet, the round there, so that you will know that you have something loaded. This is just a safety feature. It is not foolproof, so do not assume that because you don't see anything in there, it's not loaded, and don't assume that just because you see something there that it is loaded. Mine just has a hole. Some of the other pistols, for example, the Springfield XDM series and XD series, XDSs, they will have a little toggle, like a little lever, and when there's a round in the chamber, it will flip up like vertically, so you'll see a little thing sticking out above your gun, so that you can physically touch it with your finger, feeling it up, so you know there's something in there, and you can also see it. Mine does not have that. Oh, and also too, I keep saying chamber. This is your barrel, this big old cylinder. The very, very end of your barrel, right there. That's the beginning of the barrel. That's where the rounds get fed into. That's known as the chamber. So when somebody says you have a round in the chamber, they mean that you have a a round in the barrel ready to be shot. All right. So when you we're gonna go through. So you fire your first shot, bang. What's gonna happen is the slide's gonna come all the way back. It's going to take that first bullet out, stick it out, shoot it out. It's called ejecting it. And you're going to see the next round in there. It's going to grab it and see it's slowly fitting it up into that ramp. See, I let it kind of go slow. You can't do that. That's how you get jams. See, it popped out real bad. The gun will do it much faster. I'll do it fast for you. It goes real fast and the gun's loaded. What I just did there was the bullet kind of got jammed feeding up in there. I did a thing called riding the slide. When you load your bullet, like say you don't have any rounds in the chamber, you want to load it. The way you do it, you pull the gun all the way back and just let go. If you do what I did, where you go real slow, it will jam. The gun is designed to just let go, and it just lets it go stuff very fast. So again, we'll do that. When you want to unload it, this is right here is the magazine release. You push it. I like to cock the gun to the side a little bit. Let gravity do it. If you do it straight up and down, it comes out very fast sometimes. You might miss it and drop it. So I like to kind of tilt it to the side, come out a little slower. Push the slide all the way back. Bullet comes out. See, it's not loaded. There's nothing in there. The other way you can release the slide is a slide stop. You can push it down with your thumb, and it comes forward. That is not a recommended technique. Reason why, if you are in a high stress situation, your hands are shaking, sweating, and all that, you want to be able to create a movement that is very easy to replicate. That tiny little movement of pushing that, first of all, your thumb really can't reach it. I'm a pretty big guy, tall guy, and with my hands in the normal gripping position, I can't reach it. I have to kind of let go of my normal grip, put my hands to the side a little bit, my fingers to the side, and then I can reach it. So it's hard to do. And on top of that, you see how small that is? I mean, it's very, very small. It's, maybe a half an inch or so. Trying to reach that, and it's very, very thin. See how thin it is? You can barely see it sticking out the side right there. In a stressful situation, it's going to be hard to get that. Your heart's racing, your palms are sweating, might be dirty. It's hard to do that. So when your gun is loaded, or you want to rack the slide, it's best to when it's locked back like that, it's best to just grab the back of the slide and let go, and it's just ready to go. Now, whenever you shoot your last shot, oh, I'm letting it keep going. You have no more rounds in there. The gun will stay locked back automatically. Most modern pistols would do this. Some of the cheaper, lower, not necessarily cheaper, but like your very small calibers, like your 380s, they don't have that. The gun just never locks back. So this is the case when you want to let the slide go forward. You have two options. The easiest option: take the magazine out, and then just either push the slide stop, or just rack the slide, let it go. It's a lot easier. If you have a empty magazine in the gun and you try to push that down, it's very, very hard. Reason why: you have the slide trying to go forward, which is putting pressure on the magazine that way, and the follower in there is designed too, so there's a locking mechanism so that you have to push. If I'll push the slide back, just you see how where it is right now. When I push it back, I have like a little millimeter or so of giveaway. So when I do that, you see when I push, let me do it this way. See, when I push the slide stop down, it's pushing the magazine down. So you're having to counteract you have to push it down while the slide's trying to push it forward. So it's very hard. So easiest way, again, take the magazine out, then do it. Or if you want to keep the magazine in, you can pull the slide back ever so slightly. See it wiggling a little bit? Then you can do it. Push the slide down. Push the slide stop down at the same time and then release the magazine. I mean the slide. And it goes forward. Now, I think that just about covers it right there. I feel like there was one thing I was forgetting. Okay. My gun, some of the more advanced, let me show you some more of the little extras about it. Um, mine has a flared magazine well. You see how it ramps up on each side. Most of your lower end guns will just have a flat on all the sides, and you have to put the magazine in very specifically. Mine is like that because if I accidentally hit it at an angle like that and it's not going straight in, the curvature will help direct the magazine in the right way for like those emergency situations, those life or death situations where you have to put the magazine in as fast as you can. Normal guns, I'd have to be very specific, put it in straight up and down. This one right here, I can kind of hit it at the top and it'll, see how I do that? I kind of hit the top and it kind of guides itself in there. When you put the magazine in, just give it a good solid tap. With the bomb, with your weak hand, just kind of slap it in there with the heel of your palm there. You don't just want to kind of push it in also, because it is kind of hard. It's not designed to be hard, easy. Just bam, slap it in. Another thing, see how easy it is to push the magazine? A lot of guns, especially when they're brand new, you haven't broken them in yet, when you have your magazine full of rounds, like when you have all the rounds in there, it will be very, very hard sometimes to push that magazine release to get the magazine out. It is 100% normal. It's just as you kind of mess with the gun and push the button and break it in, it'll get easier over time. And that's something you should do as a new gun owner. You should just kind of go home and get some practice rounds, they're called snap caps, and just mess with your gun. Just load it, unload it, practice firing it, practice loading it, what happens in a situation. Just, rack and slide as many times as you can. And just do this every couple of days. Just kind of get your hands used to how it operates, get your muscles used to what you need to do. And then as you do that, the gears and all that will move easier, the parts will move easier, and then it'll be easier to press that magazine release. But again, so if you do have a full magazine and you can't get it out, you can always just kind of rack it real quick, back and forth, get 1 or 2 bullets out, and then release it. Just be very careful. Gun safety is very important. Make sure you point in a safe direction. Make sure there's nowhere near you. My gun has ambidextrous safeties. I have a left side and a right side. A lot of modern pistols do not have thumb safeties. They're just safe. They have several internal safeties built in, so they are relatively safe. A lot of modern pistols also do not have a great grip safety. It's standard for a 1911 model like mine, like the Springfield XDSs, XDMs. Actually, I think XDSs don't, but the XD series, they do have grip safeties, which means when this gun is loaded, alright, here's how the safety works. Thumb safety, slides racked back, it's cocked, hammers down. Just pulling the trigger, I can't do it. I'd have the safety off, the thumb safety. And still, pulling the trigger, I can't do it. See, it won't go anywhere. It won't release the hammer here. This grip safety, which is very easy to press, see how it wiggles? Just you naturally holding it, ready to fire, will engage or disengage the safety. And then you can pull the trigger. I know, check, make sure it's nothing loaded. That's nothing loaded. Now you can pull the trigger. It goes off. The thumb safeties, most safeties, you cannot, see I cannot push it up. You cannot engage the safety when the gun is not loaded. It's true for rifles too. So if that's freaking you out, don't be freaking out because that's normal. You can get some of your guns, if you pay a little extra, you can get models with the extra thumb safety. It's not really needed. Like I said, most modern pistols are very, very safe. Mine is hammer fired. You can cock the hammer back. When I pull the trigger, the only thing it does is release the hammer. Because of that, the action, the way you pull it is very smooth, very light. If you look at your modern pistols, this 1911 was designed back in 1908 and it was adopted by the Army in 1911. It's over 100 years old. Like your new guns, like the Glocks, your Springfield XDs, your Smith & Wessons, they generally have what's called a striker fire system. So instead of this hammer here, you will see just a tiny, sometimes you don't even see it. Like Glocks, you don't see it. They're all internal. But like for Springfield, you'll see like a tiny little prick, like a needle. That's your striker. That's your striker loaded indicator. That means the way it works, instead of releasing a hammer and smashing like a pin to go fire, there's an internal striker. When you load the gun, it just kind of pulls back, and when you fire, it just kind of shoots forward and hits the gun. And so a lot of those ones are a little bit harder to pull because you're not just releasing the firing mechanism. When you're pulling the trigger, it's there's something blocking the firing like pin mechanism, and then it has to kind of pull back a little bit and then go down to release it. So um, before you buy a gun, I recommend you just try out a bunch of different guns. Go to your local gun store, ask them. You know, they'll say, "What are you looking for?" Tell them, "I'm a first-time buyer. I want." They're going to ask you questions like, "What do you want the gun for? Do you want it for home defense? Do you want it for personal protection? Do you want it for mixture of both?" And then just ask them what they recommend. Just hold each gun, see how you like it, see how it holds in your hand, see how pulling the trigger feels. Um, you can always edit it. You can always modify it. Like for example, you can get a trigger kit for most of your pistols, so that you can make the trigger very, very smooth, a lot easier to pull. Like the standard, like factory, is like 5 to 6 pounds of pressure. It means it takes about 6 pounds of you pulling your finger to fire that trigger. You can get a trigger kit that goes down to 3 pounds, which is a lot easier to pull. It's not like it's unsafe where you just tap it, like tapping it goes off. You still have to pull it, but it makes it easier. A lot of your standard pistols come with white sights. Mine, you see on the back, they're kind of greeny. They're glow in the dark. They're night sights. So I don't really need white sights in the daytime. I can, just having a flat trigger like that, like a flat, flat sight picture, you know where the bullet's going to go. At night, when it's real dark outside, kind of see it with the camera here, they glow very, very bright, so I can see where I'm aiming at night. You can get a mixture. Some of them will have like a glow-in-the-dark green and a big old white or orange circle around it, so you can see in both ways. That's all things you can do. If you see too, mine are very flat there, very sharp, just like a straight edge, 90-degree angle. A lot of your beginner pistols have very smooth corners, very smooth texture, so that they won't snag on things. I open carry my pistol. That's a topic for another day, but since I open carry, I'm not worried about getting caught and snagged. The flat part is there for, say, my one hand gets incapacitated and I need to quickly, rack the slide to load another round or something like that. I can take that flat edge and push it on something flat, like the bottom of my shoe, a table, a wall, and use that by, like, when it's against the wall, I'll push back on the wall and use the wall to grab it and rack the slide. Which, won't pretty much happen in most people's lifetimes. But that's a feature. That's what you're paying extra for, and that's what you can get modded. You can also see mine has little like screws and adjusters there. Mine's like you can adjust it up and down for windage. There's one there too. You can elevation, windage. Most of your standard pistols will not have that. Just have flat sights. And another sight too you can get is like a fiber optic. It'll be like a red, green, or orange. That's like a piece of plastic, very bright. When the light hits it, it shines, makes it very easy to see it easier. All right, and that's really it, y'all. If you have any questions, please comment in the video, and I'll try my best to answer every question that I can. Thank you for watching.